Hi, this is PC and you're watching Artificial Words. So this episode is about quantum computing for business, and you might wonder what is quantum computing and at which stage we are right now. So this video is about to explain you that and give you some more applications in real world life. And this is based on a Medium article, as I was talking before in the intro. All these videos should be based on different Medium articles that I posted. So the link is below if you want to read it out. And if not, just listen to what I have to say. First of all, let's start with classical computing. So as you know, classical computers are based on bits, and there are a couple of laws which govern how we compute with classical computers. First of all, Moore's law, which gives you the idea, the belief that actually the computing speed is doubling every 2 years. That's more of a belief because it's coming to an end because we cannot really miniaturize anymore. So that's like a really fundamental reason for why it stopped working. We're coming to an end with how much we can operate on a classical level. And the second thing is the Amdahl's law, which governs how much of the computations you can parallelize, meaning even though you have all these classical computers which are already small, then maybe your idea for going even to faster speeds are, okay, let's put them together and that will do. So the problem is that won't actually work, or like it won't work. It will work only to some extent. You still have to make some of the computations linearly. And this is where quantum computing is coming. So quantum computing is based on qubits or quantum bits, and really uses quantum effects, quantum physics like superposition and entanglement, which gives you much more power to deal with if you can make it correctly, which I will talk about soon. But the whole idea is that you don't do your computations linearly, you do it all at once. So it's really, if you manage to do that, your speed with each qubit is growing exponentially, whereas with classical computing, the speed is growing linearly. So that's a cool feature, right? The only problem is that the fidelity of computations and the whole process of actually making these qubits work is really hard. And right now we're in the NISQ era devices, which means NISQ stands for Noisy Intermediate Scale Quantum Devices. So basically, we still have a lot of noise in our computations, and they're not at the level of this HPC supercomputers, which you hear about probably, that some of them are in the US, some in China. So we're not at that level. Actually, we're at the level we're trying to make anything which is a little bit useful in the real world. And in this video, I want to talk about those applications that we have right now. The idea that quantum computing will be much faster than classical is called quantum advantage. That is a practical demonstration of quantum algorithms that work much faster than classical ones. And we're still not there yet. We still have to show that quantum works much faster than classical. But there are really a lot of developments recently. For example, with Rigetti putting $1 million prize for actually a team to establish that as a first team on their device. So the Rigetti is one of the hardware companies. On the other hand, there's a lot of partnerships like Google with NASA, Lockheed Martin is doing a lot, BMW, Volkswagen, all these big corporations are putting their own input into quantum computing because the potential gain is so huge. So what is done right now is that there are very many domains which are tested for potential quantum advantage. And to start you with the whole list is that the first probably was some experimentation in quantum chemistry, where you're trying to figure out how to simulate molecules, for example, for drug discovery. So pharma is really big on quantum computing, just because molecules are already on quantum level. So the idea is that if you manipulate with quantum, you'll be able to actually get it much faster than with classical computers, because it's very hard to actually simulate molecules on classical computer. The second domain is transportation. And here, I guess Volkswagen in partnership with D-Wave was the first to actually show something useful. They optimized taxi routes from the city of Beijing to an airport, and they did that pretty well, meaning they got the results which are comparable to the ones you would get on classical computer. which means we're still not there with quantum advantage, but that's something practical already. Then there's the whole finance and insurance industry, and really big banks like Barclays, JP Morgan, in partnership with different companies like Fujitsu, Accenture, they're all testing different aspects of risk management, of portfolio optimization, how to calculate the risk of an actual transaction. And this is something which the whole process of optimizing or simulating is something which you can do well on quantum computing, especially when you have either sparse data, which means you have really big gaps in your data, which make it very hard to do with classical machine learning, for example, or in any process which scale exponentially with the number of inputs. And there are many problems like that in transportation and logistics, but in different domains also. So I've already mentioned chemicals and the whole pharma industry, so discovering drugs is really big in quantum computing. But the next thing, which is very close, is materials, and actually discovering new potential architectures for, I don't know, like your batteries or like your chip. It's something which quantum computing is good at, in the sense that it can really simulate different potential structures all at the same time. So potentially you get an exponential gain in the whole process. Also, a similar application appears in energy sector, where you can actually optimize already your existing network structure or think about the new structure. Then there's automotive and aerospace, and you get all these big players like NASA, Lockheed Martin, Boeing, already testing how quantum computing can fit into what they're doing in terms of engineering, but also there are different problems in autonomous vehicles and prediction problems. So potentially prediction side to side with optimization and simulation is another big field for quantum computing. Oh, and I've forgotten, there's Airbus and Airbus Challenge for quantum computing. You can check that on their website. They have already started, so Airbus is also in the game, I guess. Finally, there's a whole domain of cybersecurity, and a couple of companies are testing what's called post-quantum cryptography in order to prepare for the world where quantum computers are actually much better than classical computers, because you might have heard already that it's a potential risk to our security, to our passwords, and that's all right, but it's still a couple of years away at least, probably dozens of years away, until we get to the level where quantum computers can beat classical computers so much that you lose all your passwords and your access to your bank and accounts like that. But it's worth investigating right now and worth preparing for. So that's it. I hope you like the video. If you like it, subscribe to the channel. There's much more in the comments and in the description that you can read below, and also I refer you to the original article that I posted on Medium, where you can read much more with all the links to all the possible applications of quantum computing. Stay tuned. Bye.